It is 9 at night. The baby will not settle. The adults inside are running on fumes. There is no one else to call, no neighbor who owes a favor, no aunt a short walk away. Nobody. We tell ourselves this is simply what parenting feels like: hard, isolating, something a family unit is supposed to handle alone. We treat the struggle as a personal shortfall, a failure of the home. But the wiring beneath us suggests a different story. This exhaustion matches the response of an ancient system, dropped into a world that quietly removed almost everyone who used to help carry the weight. The body stays anxious, scanning at 3 in the morning, for a structural caregiving network that modern society has spent a century erasing. To see why the body is panicking, look at the mathematical cost of a human child. Reaching independence requires 10 to 13 million calories. 2 hands could not gather that much alone, while also nursing, foraging, and staying alert for predators. The species that built us survived by evolving around the group rather than the isolated pair. This is cooperative breeding. It distributed the immense caloric burden of childhood across grandmothers, older siblings, and neighbors. Humans are the strange exception among the great apes. For chimpanzees or gorillas, a mother and infant are almost never out of physical contact, and they remain deeply uncomfortable around strangers of their own species. Humans, however, can pack over 100 unrelated people into an airplane cabin for hours and mostly just feel bored. That tolerance is a direct side effect of our history. We evolved to hand our infants to other people constantly, building a species-wide trust just to ensure the next generation reached independence. Roughly 2 million years ago, a dietary shift made survival even more labor-intensive. Roots and tubers became essential staples, requiring more digging and processing time than a nursing mother could manage alone while staying fed. Selection favored a unique strategy to bridge this gap. Women who lived decades past the years they could bear children. In Hadza hunting and gathering communities, postmenopausal women are often the most productive foragers in camp. Research shows that children with an actively foraging grandmother nearby have measurably better survival odds. This help often came from women with no blood relation to the child at all. Care operated like a rotating shift. One woman stayed with the children while others foraged, trading childcare and calories across a wide network. A human child is biologically hardwired to expect this exact environment, a rotating group of adult hands, not just the 2 that conceived it. While the small household itself has existed for centuries, the extreme geographical distance between those households is a modern invention. Industrialization pulled workers away from ancestral land and into factory towns. Later, the 20th century career asked people to relocate across continents for opportunity, leaving the support network behind. Mid-century neighborhoods were designed around cars, space, and privacy. The architectural focus shifted away from the shared courtyard and toward the isolated plot. This spatial shift removed the accidental daily contact with neighbors that historically provided a casual layer of help. A neighbor 2 doors down or a relative down the path became a scheduled appointment or a flight away. Through 100 small shifts in zoning and lifestyle, we engineered the essential network of rotating hands completely out of our physical environment. Fixing the exhaustion requires more than just moving closer to family. A study of families in Mali suggests that the shape of the household on paper matters less than we think. In some cases, children in large extended households fared no differently than those in nuclear ones. If resources were scarce or if family members were in competition, the village existed in name only. Our evolutionary wiring does not care about family trees or official household structures. It is indifferent to the paperwork. The nervous system responds to one thing: presence. It requires dependable, physical help arriving when the need is real, whether those hands belong to a grandmother, a friend, or a neighbor. That silence in the apartment at 9 p.m. feels like a verdict on your character, because the body is noticing an absence it was never built to tolerate. It is the signal of an old circuit scanning for backup that is structurally not there. Modern parenting requires running an ancient caregiving system on a fraction of the crew it was designed for. The alarm keeps sounding because the help is thin, and the body is simply refusing to let us feel fine about doing a 12-person job alone. When you are sitting in the cold silence of a modern kitchen at midnight, staring at unpaid bills and unwashed bottles, The isolation feels heavy. It feels like a relentless, compounding drain on both your bank account and your sanity. As we saw in our last episode, that exhaustion is a direct response to the math. Raising a single human child requires a biological bill of 13 million calories. The standard cultural advice to fix this equation is simple. Pack up your isolated house, move closer to your parents, and let the extended family step in. Geography alone rarely solves the problem. Merely sharing a zip code with your blood relatives rarely provides the daily, friction-free relief that an exhausted nervous system is begging for. To understand why, we can look at a study of family structures in Mali. Researchers examined children living in large, multi-generational earthen compounds, the exact kind of tight-knit ancestral layout we often associate with a perfect village. The study returned an unexpected result. On paper, these kids were surrounded by aunts, uncles, and grandparents, yet their health and survival outcomes were no better than children raised in tiny, isolated nuclear homes. The researchers discovered that physical proximity often introduced a new problem. These children were competing with their own cousins for a limited pool of food, attention, and money. Proximity to relatives provides zero benefit if those relatives aren't actively absorbing the load. Because the Mali compound saw family members as competitors for resources rather than partners in labor, the village structure provided no biological advantage to the children. Your evolutionary wiring responds to exactly one metric: active daily presence. If we go back to the Yucatan Maya households, we see a functioning system for managing the calorie debt of raising kids. These children act as economic stabilizers within the household, such as fetching water or tending the crops and feeding the animals. They pay back the vast majority of their biological investment before they even reach adulthood. Work flows back into the system that supports the child. Our modern model, where childhood is a 20-year private financial liability with zero practical return to the parents, is an evolutionary anomaly. A functioning village depends on cooperation, not just bloodlines. Look at the Hadza foragers of Tanzania. They live and work in dynamic communal camps. Their childcare system operates as a low-friction, rotating shift model. One caregiver watches the kids at camp, while others gather calories. The next day, they trade. This works through fluid cooperation. The community seamlessly swaps roles based on daily availability. This highly distributed cooperative labor is exactly what human biology expects. It is the only way our species successfully survived the burden of raising our young. Modern parents are struggling because we have built an environment that is structurally hostile to cooperative care. The modern suburban sprawl traps families in isolated, self-contained boxes. We engineered our neighborhoods to prioritize privacy over proximity. This design filtered out the accidental, rotating daily contact that historically absorbed half the sheer physical work of parenting. In engineering terms, the isolated nuclear family is a single point of failure. It is a bridge carrying more weight than its structural supports were built to handle. When one parent gets sick or the childcare falls through, the entire system collapses. This exhaustion is a structural byproduct. You're carrying a collective biological load inside a physical environment specifically designed to prevent communal care. A house full of passive, uninvolved relatives is biologically useless to an exhausted parent, but a single, unrelated neighbor who actively takes the kids every Tuesday afternoon without being asked provides exactly what your evolutionary wiring is begging for. We can't revert to ancient foraging bands, but we can intentionally design modern microvillages. We have to manufacture the low-friction cooperation that our environment stripped away. This requires practical, deliberate steps. We have to normalize asking for hands. We need to set up intentional, rotating labor shifts with friends, share school pickups, and integrate dependable caregivers into a reliable, consistent rotation. So when 9 o'clock hits and that familiar, heavy exhaustion sets in, recognize it for what it is. That feeling is an ancient biological circuit sounding a healthy, functioning alarm that your support system is missing. The ancient parenting system is currently understaffed. The primary objective is no longer endurance, it is recruitment. Go find your crew.